Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome back to the market color for today, the 8th of May 2026. We're excited to have you all here joining us live on today's market color. My name is CJ, and I'm going to be taking you through the first part of the market color. And of course, I'm not here alone. This market color is proudly brought to you by yours truly, the Value Flow Trading team. And together, we're going to be sharing our analysis with you, showing you the things we're expecting to play out in the market, trades we want to take, and how we expect them to play out. And then we're going to give you a quick roundup of what the market has been doing all week long. So this is the market color. And we're going to be having shortly, Lekon is going to be joining us, Cynthia, Demola, and Abby would also be joining us live on this market color as they share their thoughts on the market and the various currency pairs they have interest in. So let's move straight into the chart without wasting any more time. Now we're starting off with gold against the dollar. Of course, we had some mixed bias on gold since yesterday into today. However, we're now seeing that gold is looking like momentum has dropped, and we're expecting it to resume its sell to the downside. So we might be seeing more and more sales on gold to the downside moving into the remaining part of this week. So, which is of course today. Looking at gold, we initially expected to see a move all the way to this region on the daily time frame. However, if we look at the hourly time frame, we'll see that structure looks to have shifted to the downside. If we also look at the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame, that gives us clear context. Now, the 4-hour time frame, it looks as though structure shifted to the upside. So we've been expecting a retracement all the way to somewhere around here before a continuation to the upside. But if you look at on the 1-hour time frame as well, you see that retracement looks to be happening anytime soon, because we've seen that price has broken structure close below, made a retracement, and now it's selling. So we're expecting that long sell to play out, where we would want to see price retrace to some decent region of the whole swing that made the move to the upside before we expect further buys to the upside. So we're looking at for a retracement today. We're having a bearish bias on gold today. We're also seeing that the market is already forming kind of an evening star pattern right here on the 1-hour time frame, signaling for a sell on gold, and we're expecting the sell to just play out all the way to take out possibly this low. You can see that liquidity is residing around here. Once price takes out this low, we'll be ready to resume the buy once again. So for gold this morning, I'm bearish, and I want to see price take out this lows to the downside before they move back to the upside. All right, and talking about entries, we might be getting entries from a couple of places. One of the places we might be getting entry from is this region right here, where price closed below here, and where price moved and created a fair value gap here and an old low. So we might be getting an entry from somewhere around here, okay? Or we might get an entry after a proper retracement all the way here, and then a sell-off to the downside. Overall, we're still bearish on gold, and we want to see the sell all the way to the downside. So if you see an entry pattern showing up, kind of maybe a bullish engulfing candle shows up, or an evening star pattern shows up, either one should be looking to take a sell on gold to the downside, because it's looking bearish at this time. Okay, so that is our bias on gold. Bearish bias this morning. Now let's move into the yen pairs quickly. Now for the yen basket, has been very tricky and very frustrating past couple of days on the yen, because we've been seeing spikes, and those spikes are as a result of interventions from the Japanese government, seeing how weak the Japanese yen had grown over the past couple of weeks, running into last week and this week. The Japanese government has started intervening in their currencies by buying back their treasury bills, and also adding incentives to make the Japanese yen more attractive to investors. And that has been causing spikes to the downside for Japanese yen pairs. Now, if you look at it on this lower time frame, you would see how those spikes have influenced trades a lot. But overall, seeing that this intervention is in play, usually I would advise during these interventions, we just stay out of the market So sorry about the technical glitch. We're back. So I was talking about the yen basket, and we said so long as you're trading anything around the yen during this period where the Japanese government are trying to intervene, I would advise you just stay out and watch the market for the time being until it starts to look normal. Quickly, when we look at the yen pairs, you're going to see how those has played out so far. But overall, on the yen, we're expecting it to continue selling because this is quite an artificial um, bullish move. So we're expecting it to continue selling off later on. In that regard, we're expecting pairs like GBP, JPY, which we'll be seeing shortly, to be very, very bullish. Now, looking at GBP, JPY, look at it on the daily time frame, we are expecting it to resume its buy trend, but we've been seeing some form of rejections so far. And I would advise, like I said earlier, we just stay out. Like you can see here on your screen, this was a very strong rejection. This was the first day of the intervention. On the second day of the intervention, you can see the trade frustrating buyers. Third day, same thing. Fourth day, nothing. Fifth day, the same thing. So you can see that they've been frustrating buyers for a long time, and it's supposed to be buying. So we'll just stay out and watch. When everything looks clear, structure resumes normally, then we'll continue. But my overall bias on GBP JPY is a buy. Now, same thing goes for Euro JPY. My overall bias is a buy, but you've been seeing the frustration of the buyers through the interventions of the government. So at this point, I'll just advise we stay out of the markets of GBP JPY and Euro JPY for the meantime. And when everything starts to look clear, we would start looking for possible trades. Same thing on USD JPY. All right, so we'll just take trade other pairs like gold, GBP, US, Euro, USD, and the likes, and we have smoother trades. Okay, so this is a wrap up of GBP JPY and Euro JPY for the week. And like I said earlier, for gold, we're expecting bearishness to play out on gold. So this will be all from my end. Quickly, we're going to be analyzing the dollar and dollar related pairs. And for that, we have Cynthia, who's going to be taking us through that analysis right away. Good morning, Cynthia.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's market follow. Quickly, we'll be looking at commodity market. Sorry, indices market before we continue with what is happening. We're having a bit of technical glitch in the studio. However, that will not be a problem for us. All right, I'll be sharing my screen just so we can look at the indices market. Okay. All right. I believe you can see my screen now. Okay, so starting with US 30, let's start with US 30 and see what's going on with US 30. Remember last week, price was still around this level here, right? And then we said we're looking at opportunities to either buy from this zone, but then we saw a further retracement digging into this area here, right? Interestingly, price, I was thinking price is going to dig into this breaker block, but then it used the fair value gap, and then 50% of this fair value gap was what price used as well to continue to the upside. And we've not gotten to the previous all-time high. We still here, we've not cleared it yet, right? Price almost got there and then also reversed again, right? And we're seeing like a reversal this morning for what the market is doing. But then it is still very, very much bullish. I still see a bullish market. And the next question for me now would be, could we still see a continuation? These two zones look like a very good zone for me to buy this market this morning. This zone, these two zones, right? These two areas of interest, this first one and the second one. using this as an inducement, price can as well just dig into this and then continue to the upside. And then I'll wait, take my take profit will be here, the first take profit. Second one will be how price reacts off this level, because this is a very strong zone, right? The very strong zone has never been tested before, and so price could as well just tap into this zone and then start, either selling off to the downside, or we'll just see a continuation testing into this zone and then a bit of consolidation, a breakout to the upside to continue its movement. So that's a big possibility for us. But then we'll be seeing how this happens into next week. Today is Friday. Friday I meant for recap. On NAS 100, we had a very, very interesting situation on our NAS 100. Remember, as of Monday, price was still around this zone, right? We wanted price to dig into this because we know for sure it's going to send price to the upside. We're using this as inducement, right? Using this level as inducement for sadly, so price didn't get to our point of interest, our area of interest at all, right? It didn't get to our area of interest. Use this other block and look at how much we'll have made, but then it didn't get to our area of interest. That's reason sometimes this thing can be the market can be very confusing. Should I use the word confusing? But let me just use interesting, not really confusing sometimes, right? The pair you're waiting for to take an action will not be the pair that will now finally deliver. So you have to be on the outlook and then ensuring that you don't miss out on this opportunity across other pair. By other pair, I mean US30, NAS 100, and S&P 500. Like I used to advise, I say open the charts, 3 of them, place them side by side. That will give you the oversight and overview of what is happening across the board. So you can now use that to leverage your own trade. Because if it's not happening on NAS 100, you can check across other pairs to see if the exact thing is happening there. So you can take advantage of it and not just be sulking on a missed trade in just one of them, right? So very quickly, we'll be going to the S&P 500 that it happened, right? On S&P 500, and network is in there. Okay, look at S&P 500, guys. The same order block, right? The same order block, the same everything. Price, of course, using this as an inducement, right? Although this is quite far, I would even prefer this. This would be my own inducement. This, yeah, it's an inducement for me. And then the same Monday, right? By 6 p.m., price dug into this level. And then look at the smooth, clean ride we had, right? Look at the clean, smooth ride. The same thing we're expecting for NAS 100. The same thing we're expecting for NAS 100, but that didn't happen. On S&P 500, gave us our delivery, right? Smooth delivery to the upside without any drama or issue, right? So sometimes it's just best that we wait the first take profit. Of course, an objective target will be here. An objective target will be this high here, right? This previous high. That this 1:5. Any other thing that happens above here is just, you just trying to, probably you've taken off 80% of your position and then you allow the rest to float, right? Floating profit, because there's no way you could have known price will get all the way to this zone. So a lifestyle influencer will put this for you as the real take profit, the real risk to reward, but right, that this is just the objective one. If you are able to capture this, probably it's a form of randomness to it or just sheer luck, because price could have as well just taking out these previous targets, external liquidity, and then begin to sell, right? But this is a very good trade, regardless if you took all of them or you did 1:5. It's still a very good trade. All right, so that's on NAS. And what do we have on NAS now going forward? When you come back to the daily time frame, you will see that we are in a price discovery area. So we don't really know what's happening or what's going to happen, right? We don't really know what's going to happen. But typically, with this kind of bullish movement, is some form of retracement that will happen, and then we'll see a continuation, right? We'll see a continuation. How far do we see this bullish movement going? I don't have an idea yet, right? I don't have a very clear idea on how far. But what I know very well is for it to continue this push, we would see, a form of retracement a bit, and then that will now give us the momentum to continue, right? This is on the weekly time frame. By the time you come to daily time frame, you see that it's even clearer, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if next week we see a form of retracement a bit, and then that will now give us that push to upside. And the retracement can be into this other block too, into this daily order block, right? Into this daily order block, and then that will now give us what we need. What we need. All right. So if price digs into this zone, then I'm sure that we would get our bullish movement next week, almost immediately, right? From Monday market open, we'll just see a retracement into the other block, right? After price retreats into the other block, and then we'll see that continuation to the upside. All right. So that's pretty much what I have going on with S&P 500, NAS 100. We missed this particular move. It didn't retrace, but also we should see that retracement too, right, into next week, right? That retracement, and then it's not give us our continuation. So that's pretty much what we have going on. Very quickly, we'll be doing analysis on GBP USD, Euro USD, and Cynthia will be doing a fantastic job for that. The next voice you'll be hearing after mine will be Cynthia's. All right, Cynthia, over to you. How you doing? How's the market at your end?
Morning, Demola. Thank you very much. I'm doing very fine. That was such an insightful analysis from your end. And of course, pretty much, we're just going to see how the market is doing together. I hope we all can find it. Hope, kindly give me a moment to pull up my screen so that we get to do this analysis together. I hope we all can see my screen and hope my screen can see. Alright, so if you can see my screen, I believe you should be able to see my screen. That's enough with the XY. We actually had a buy bias on Monday on the XY. And coming down to the daily time frame, of course, we saw that price was sitting at a price point in the left shoulder on daily time frame, right? This left shoulder right here. 97.912 was very top price sitting, and we were speculating that price was going to buy off that region. Price has just been stalling off this point and just reading, and we're not even seeing a significant pull to the upside for the continuation of the buy on the XY. And coming out to the 4-hour time frame, of course, in the 4-hour time frame, we're seeing that price didn't really do what we speculated. There was no significant buy per se. We just saw price pulling to the downside, just doing its thing and all of that, ranging per se. But let's head to the 1-hour time frame to see what price did. Apologies, let my screen just come on. We are looking out for buy opportunities, but that wasn't the case. Right, but on the 1 hour time frame, of course, um, this happened, right? We saw a sell-off into from Tuesday into Wednesday and then into Thursday. We actually saw that price traded above, grabbing the liquidity residing right here. So, what's that telling us? We may see a resumption of the buy into next week, right? Of the XY all the way to the upside. After seeing that this liquidity has been cleared and there has been a grab of liquidity, we may just keep seeing some opportunities to long the XY even into next week. Let's see what GBP USD did. We actually had a sell buyers saying that we wanted to buy the XY. Of course, we'll be looking out for sell opportunities on GBP USD and Euro USD. But let's see what price did during the course of the week. On the daily time frame, we actually spotted the classic box pattern for a sell right here. Right, price is still at that region, just ranging. All we wanted to see price do was for price to sell all the way to the downside, clearing the low at 1.31750. But price is still stalling. Eventually, we should see a sell-off on the daily time frame for GBP USD. Coming down to the 4 hour time frame, let's see what price did, right? On the 4 hour time frame, um, of course, we'll be anticipating that most recent price action will probably be bullish, right? Contradicting the sell analysis that we had on Monday, we are seeing that we're seeing even more bullishness on GBP USD, more like caught up in a range but to the upside. So this did not align with our analysis for the sell on GBP USD into this week, right? And of course, all we saw from Monday into Wednesday was a bullish move. Then into Thursday, we saw that price actually did retrace, and we may see a continuation of this buy, clearing this double top because there is liquidity residing right here. And after establishing that our sell did not hold, and instead we're seeing more like buy opportunities instead. We should be looking out for entries, right? We should be looking out for entries. But this looks like a break. It is not so obvious, but this looks like a break for a sell on the 15 minutes time frame. It's really crappy on my own end. I really cannot demystify what the market wants to do. But it's the classic box pattern right here. Shoulder sweep, right, range the beat, then and eventually break to the downside. So we may see a reaction of this level right to the downside was frustrating to 1 for 36079. We may see a sell-off of that level. We even see more buys to the upside. Don't forget that we're actually speculating that price may eventually clear liquidity, double top on the 1 hour time frame. We may see price clearing and grabbing liquidity off that level. It's not so clear from my end on what GBP USD wants to do, but that's just um what it's looking like once you do on the 15 minutes time frame. We see a term sell, a short term sell on the 15 minutes time frame and what have you. On Euro USD daily time frame, price still stalling at this box pattern strategy at 1.1795 the downside. Price retraced right back into 1.18054, and it's just stalling off that level and coming down to the 4 hour time frame. uh, Right, 4 hour time frame is just ranging. It's just ranging. As you can see, cut off in a range, but it looks like a range to the it's just ranging. On the 1 hour time frame, let's see what price has for that. What we analyzed wasn't fulfilled on GBP USD, Euro USD, and even dollar. We're looking out for a sell on both Euro USD and GBP USD and a buy on the dollar, but contradicting what was analyzed, we're even seeing that instead price bought significantly into this week and into Wednesday, right? And even into Thursday, we're seeing this happening that price broke below right here on 1 hour time frame. So we will see a reaction once price retraces into this level and a continuation to the downside. I don't know, but into next week we may see a sell-off on Euro USD. I'm seriously anticipating that Euro USD should still sell. And yes, that's it from my end. Lekon, what are you seeing out to take opportunities in the synthetics market?
Well, good morning, Cynthia. Thank you very much. Synthetic market has been a little bit chaotic and very quiet, at the same time and the course of the week. However, we have still have some level of markups that we are still looking at to see price trading into. So this morning we'll be going into the analysis of this 31S, 75-1S, and V75 itself. So starting with VIS30 this morning, looking at the daily time frame, you are going to agree with me that the last move we have is still a sell structure, which was still this market structure shift that we have here, this particular break in market structure that we had here on the daily time frame, right? However, after that particular moment, we saw that price gave all the way to take out this liquidity at this level here and begin to sell all the way down. Of which you expect price to create a new lower low that should be a bit lower than this, or at worst, let price come and trade into this order block that we have on this daily time frame, this order block here, and also just with the confluence above the order block is the fair value gap that we have seated around this zone. If you look at it very well, there's also the fair value gap seated there, but we just see price create a double bottom here and then begin to reverse all the way to the upside. But that is still telling us that this last swing, this last market structure shift that we had here is still very much in play, which is giving us the vibe of more of a sell. And looking at it from the 24 daily time frame, you can see the daily order block very strong around this zone here, and I'm expecting that price should this particular swing coming up, this buy move coming up, I really expected the price to trade into this order block, taking out this very tiny liquidity here, and then we begin to sell this 31S back down. But we are going to see that much more clearly on the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, I have it marked out here, which is this is the order block that we marked on the daily time frame, and this is the liquidity level, well, very clear around this point. So when price takes out that liquidity level and tap into the daily order block, we can see this move was an attempt to tap into this daily order block, which was not really done, and that looks more intentional because we still see the momentum this price was taking all the way to the upside just to come and trade into this. And from the 4-hour perspective too, we see how that price created this market structure shift to the upside and gave us a more of a pulse signal somewhere here to the upside. So we expect that price still going to do the last leg all the way to this top there. And on the 1-hour time frame for this 31S, you would agree with me that this consolidation looks more like a trap, because if it's going to sell truly, we should see after this consolidation, we should see price take out the liquidity, like wipe out the early sellers, then begin to sell to the downside. But instead, we have consolidation and break out to the downside. So I'm still of the opinion that this 31S should still buy all the way to the upside into our daily POI, which is this 4-hour liquidity level to be taken out, and then we begin to look for entry signatures at the daily order block. All right, so that is for this 31S. Let's quickly take a move to this 75 itself. Now, looking at the 75 from the daily perspective, you are going to agree with me that we've been in a very strong consolidation right from February. Right from February, we've been in this strong consolidation right from February, and all we're looking to do is sell at premium, then buy at discount of this consolidation. However, if you look at it, on Monday, we attempted to sell around this zone, of which we saw some entry signature on the 15-minute on lower time frame, which was violated, and later on, price gave a very clean entry again, then begin to sell to the downside. And that is the sell we are still seeing in play right now, right? Looking at what we have right now, what should we now begin to check out for in terms of entry for the 75. Now, if you look at it from the 4-hour perspective, I'm of the opinion that on the 4-hour perspective, because price has now traded into the discount level of the range, you are going to see that we've seen a market structure shift somewhere here. So I'm of the opinion that price should take out this liquidity. When it takes out this liquidity, there's another block on the 1-hour time frame that we should look out for, that price is most likely going to tap into. So I'm of the opinion that price should do this, take out this liquidity, and begin to trade lower. So this is what I'm looking out to see for the this is what I'm looking out to see for the sell of this 75, meaning I'm looking out to see this price doing this, right? When price trade to that level, then we should see this moving forward, right? So this is my watch out for the 75 itself, meaning price trade all the way to that level, and when price does that, then we come all the way here, we execute, and we do our 1:3 or 4, right? So as a matter of fact, I'm still of the opinion that price is going for this liquidity here, because around this zone, this liquidity here, so we are looking out to see this happen. So that is about almost 1:4. That's almost 1:5 rather. Okay, so on the lower time frame, if you look at it, there is no yet any entry to execute. That's what I'm trying to say in a nutshell. On 15-minute time frame, there's no any entry yet to execute. As a matter of fact, it's giving more of a sell vibe for a long time, and what we should see is that when price get to this zone, then it should return all the way back down to come and tap proper into this place. So we are not going to take this buy, because we don't buy, we don't sell, rather we don't sell at discount. So just wait to see price tap into this place and sell further to your discount zone, so that you can buy instead of selling. All right, so that is what I'm looking out to see for this 75. And lastly, for 75 1x, if you look at 75 1s2 from the daily perspective, we see where price actually came to target. Price came to take out this liquidity level that we have here. However, today being Friday, you can still see some last move into this fair value gap that we have seated in this zone. You can see this is a fair value gap, and we have this double bottom here. But looking at it, I have to go to the lower time frame, 1 hour to be specific, and discover that this double bottom formed at this particular point. There is a sweep of liquidity, but it's very tiny, so you have to train your eyes to see it. It's not just double bottom. Even if you look at the value of the candlestick, the low for this one is 3,038 spot 500, while the low for this one is 3,034 spot 8600. So which means this low is lower than this. So this is a very typical sweep of liquidity, and price coming to the institutional reference point, which is this fair value gap. So in a nutshell, we expect that price should, trade just the way we're expecting to see the move on V75 all the way back up, and we expect price to trade to this particular zone for V75 1S. So this is it for the synthetic indices with our stop loss just below here, and we are targeting 1:3, and then that is it. All right, but respect price when it gets to this zone. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at there should be a torso at this particular zone when price gets there. All right, so that is it for me for the synthetic this morning. This 31S, 751S, and this 75 index itself. So right about now, we'll be going straight to see what are the opportunities available in the commodity market, as we have the commodity queen herself, take over from this point. Good morning, Abigail.
Hi, Lekon. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This has been a very insightful session so far, and I believe we've all gained value in one way or the other. So first of all, I'm going to be starting with a recap on what we discussed on Monday on these commodity currencies to see what we achieved, how much money we made, and how the market is going to be moving into next week. So starting off with a look at AUD/USD, you remember that we marked out 4 basic points of interest on the 5-minute time frame, where we said we want to see price trading to give us confirmations, and we're going to continue to trade these asset classes. For AUD/USD, we're looking at a temporal sell-off into a possible point of interest before the buy resumes. So we said we're looking at a sell to buy on this particular asset class, and surely that is what this asset class did. This is Monday's price movement, 4th of May. Price gave us a temporal sell even into Tuesday. There were continuous sell into these zones. However, price then eventually came to tap into a point of interest that was created on Monday, hence giving us the buy move. So for the sell opportunity that we first saw, when price came to retest this and gave us confirmation, we did over 50 pips on AUD/USD, and then from where price gave us another confirmation for the buy to resume, we did 100 plus pips on the buy side. So this is what this asset class has done so far. Now, looking at what price may be doing moving forward, let's go to the H4 time frame quickly, so we can just have our mindset for Monday's price movement and see the possibilities the market will present. So on the H4 time frame, everything is still predominantly to the upside. Sunshine printed, hence why you're seeing the immediate sale that we're seeing on this asset class right now. Going to the H1 time frame to fix our points of interest, although this will change come Monday. They're going to change, but for now, let's just go ahead and draw them out. These are now our new points of interest. So on H1, we have 0.72066 as our first POI, second one being 0.71760, and the third point of interest is 0.70679. So take note of that. If that was too fast, that's fine. Just rewind, the play on YouTube, and you'll be able to get these numbers again. So price is now currently testing a key support level. You can see it here. This is the zone we just called out, right here. So price is currently testing this zone, and the buy is resuming. Let's go to the M5 and see if this buy is going to surely hold from here, or there's going to be some sort of changes. As usual, what do we do when we come to the 5-minute time frame? We mark out 4 basic points of interest, basically support and resistance levels. So we have our first resistance level right here, basically saying price could buy all the way in here. It hits resistance and continue to sell. We also have another major resistance coming from day before yesterday's price movement, all the way at the top. And then we're going to be marking out our support levels. So price has currently just here. This is support that is currently acting as resistance. You can see why the sell is resuming. If price is able to break through this particular level, we're going to be targeting the resistance on the upside. So pay attention to this price point. This is the major obstacle in the price of AU right now. And then going to mark out our final support level. Let's just go ahead and mark this here. This has double confluences with the higher time frame POI. If you're going to trade all the way in here, hit this support rather, give us confirmations, and AUD/USD will just buy. So simply put, as a recap, so you do not get confused, price is currently here. It's been buying from our 1 hour point of interest, it has currently hit a support turn possible resistance. If this resistance holds, we're going to see AUD trade lower and trade into the support level. However, if it violates the zone to the upside, best believe there's going to be more buys into our next resistance point. Then quickly moving into the next asset class, NZD-USD. From what we marked out on Monday as well, you see this level points right here on the chart, right? We said we're looking at temporal sell-offs and then a buy. However, for NZD-USD on the H4 time frame, it was in a range as at the time of that market analysis. And we said 5-minute time frame will give us the separation that we want to see. So we didn't really participate from this particular NZD-USD sell. Instead, we took advantage of the buy when we saw that major point taken out. So you can see how price came to trade into Monday support level right here. Traded into the zone, gave us confirmations, and NZD-USD gave us a beautiful buy. But it was expected because in most cases, when AUD/USD does one thing, NZD/USD eventually follows through. So this buy, when I saw how AU was moving, this was expected. And this did over 130 pips. Beautiful. Okay, so moving into next week, what do we think is going to happen? Of course, we're going to have a fresh analysis on Monday as well. So we'll come back here by 8:30 a.m. to see what the market is doing. I'm just going to pretty much delete all of this. So NZD-USD has now broken through the range I spoke on during Monday's analysis. There's now been a separation. Sunshine has been printed, so we're expecting a temporal retracement. Retracement into what zone though? This is now our first point of interest. Price is already trading from that first POI, second POI, and our third point of interest. Those are 0.58392, 0.58987, 0.59227. Price is currently trading off this resistance to support. So NZD-USD is giving me ideas that you may just continue to buy for a long time because of these major confluences that we're seeing. And this is what we have on the 5-minute time frame. Again, just mark out the highs and the lows. I'm going to go ahead and use the horizontal line. You just mark that out on your chart as well. So these are now 0.59832, 0.59904. That's on the 5-minute to the 5-minute point of interest. And then for our support level, there's double confluence here, 0.59500. And day before yesterday's low, which is somewhere around here. And that is 0.59016. So let's watch out for that. Again, we're going to meet on Monday to see even clearer market data. For the 5-minute time frame of USD CAD, we saw this buy. Price traded above, gave us entry here. When you broke through and gave this retest, this was our first entry point for USD CAD buy. And from where price was to how much it moved, this was 70 plus pips, which is still good enough, yeah? Price came and gave us another entry point at this key level that we marked out on H1. And from there, again, it gave us another 80 pips. So this delivered as well. So moving into next week, let's keep our eyes focused, spend the weekend, some time out of the weekend to properly look at these asset classes and see the opportunities that will present themselves next week. And just before we go, we have our first bootcamp training happening the last week of this month. And I encourage every one of us who has been trying to learn how to trade to enroll for that class. It is going to be very insightful. It will take you from total beginner level all the way to making consistent weekly cash flow. With that being said, thank you so much for joining. I look forward to seeing every one of us come next week. Have an amazing weekend. Bye for now. Cheers and God bless.